How's it going, guys? Andy here, back in the potting shed, and I've got a few houseplant species spotlights for you today because I've been shopping at the weekend. My local garden centre got a big shipment of Calathea in and I couldn't resist. They were just beautiful and I bought a couple, and I'm going to share with you a few that I picked up today, starting with Calathea Whitestar. This is an impressive plant, absolutely beautiful. I'm a big fan of contrast when it comes to houseplants anyway, and these leaves are just beautiful with such contrast between the dark green and the lighter colours on the leaves. And as you can see, most of the leaves have, there we go. Most of the leaves look like they've been coloured in with like a pink crayon. Absolutely beautiful. I'll show you some of the lower down leaves. It's a stunning plant, and I think it just looks beautiful. I chose a pot for it, which is this dark green one, and I know I've been choosing a lot of pots which have similar colours to the plant. It's kind of not deliberate, but I was looking at all the different pots and this one stood out for me, and it looks beautiful with this particular plant in it, and it just so happens to match the colours of this plant. Again, I've done that a few times and I guess I like it because I've done it again. I haven't repotted it. I've simply placed it in its pot originally into the new pot, so it works. It's still got drainage into the outer pot, and generally it's not a good idea to repot a plant when you first get it. It's usually had a lot of upheaval. It's been from the grower into the garden centre or the houseplant shop, so it's been moved around a lot, different environments, which can shock a plant a little bit, and then you're bringing it into a new environment again of your own. It's good just to let it sit and relax for a few weeks just to get its breath, find its feet, so to speak. And if you do want to repot it, wait a few weeks. Yeah, that's my best advice when it comes to that. Now this one, being a Calathea, can be a little tricky to look after. Now a lot of people say the Calathea oberfolia is one of the harder plants to look after. Now fingers crossed, seems to be behaving itself. My one I've had now for a few months, let me guess, 6 months, something like that, and I was fully prepared for it to give me trouble and die or have browning leaves, but so far, I'll do an update video soon about it, but it's just putting out new leaves. There's no browning, no crispy leaf tips or anything. It just seems to be quite happy. So fingers crossed we're going to get more of the same with this one. I've got a perfect spot picked out for it with some lower light. This is another plant that will tolerate quite low light. Not total shade obviously, but lower light. If you've got an area of your house which has a distant window, then it will still be okay. It's the type of plant that would live down in the lower half of a tropical rainforest and be sheltered by the canopy of the bigger trees, so it's used to that sort of indirect light, and that's what it naturally have. Although having said that, in those sort of places there is high humidity, so it will appreciate a slightly higher humidity as well. So spraying the leaves, maybe a humidifier machine. I don't use them myself because this is in my living space. Don't really want a humidifier in my living space, so it kind of has to put up with the humidity levels we have, which I don't think are too bad, it seems so far. So fingers crossed this one will be all right. Now I've done some research on this particular one on the interwebs, and I've learnt a few new words, which always makes me happy. Now this one has, if I get it right, observable nyctinasty. Is that right? Observable nyctinasty, which is a ridiculous word, but it basically means that these leaves react to the time of day. Now during the day the leaves are open and spread like that, and as it gets towards night time they all close up and the whole plant collapses in on itself, and then in the morning they come back down again. It's amazing to see. And it's a really mobile plant, so it gives an added value to it to watch it do this every cycle of morning and night. And you know, there's so much about the natural world we still don't know. We still don't actually know why they do this. which is fascinating to me. But it's an interesting thing to watch and to understand and learn about how a plant can actually move. They don't have a brain after all, so they're not necessarily following the sun like a plant might actually move around and follow the sun, which makes sense. It's trying to get the sun onto its leaves to photosynthesize. That makes sense. This is not doing that. It's simply closing up at night, opening up during the day. We don't really understand why they do that, which is fascinating on its own. And the whole mechanics of how that works as well is fascinating. But yeah, if you have a look, I'm particularly impressed by the underside of these leaves. I don't know if you can get that in this light. It's quite bright out today and it's playing havoc with my camera. It's got a beautiful deep red tinge to the underside of the leaves. It's absolutely stunning. And in the place that I've got, I see it every day, and I think this will be a valuable asset to my living space. So I'm really pleased with this. It wasn't horrendously expensive, and as long as I don't kill it, I think it will be a lovely houseplant to enjoy for many years to come. So if you're interested in buying one of these, I would call it an intermediate plant to advanced. If you're a beginner and you not that experienced with keeping plants, I wouldn't choose this one to begin with. It's slightly finicky when it comes to watering, when it comes to all of the environmental factors. You've got to get it just right or it can potentially throw a tantrum. So what type of water would you have with this? Well, if you're anything like me and you come from an area with really, really bad natural water, it's very hard. Something like 650 ppm, if that means anything to you, particles per million. It's really hard. It's not good, the tap water, and it certainly isn't good for a plant like this. So really, if you can harvest rainwater at your house, you have some rainwater gutters, and you can sort of flow that into some water butts or whatever way you have to collect your rainwater, then that will be much, much better for a plant like this. Reverse osmosis water in the same way. If you have a water filter that creates reverse osmosis water, that will be fine for it as well. But you know the hard metals and heavy metals in the tap water are not good. I don't drink it, although it is perfectly safe to drink. It's not something I want to put in my body, so I use filtered water, and certainly filtered water for a plant like this will be much, much better. So that's one thing. It doesn't like to be too wet. It doesn't like to be too dry. So you've got to time that just right and understand when the plant is drying out enough to then water it again. But again, that takes experience and time to know your plant. Using a moisture probe can also help. You can buy them fairly cheaply on Amazon. I'll link them down below to the one that I got. You simply stick it in the soil and it will tell you how moist and how dry it is. And you'll get used to understanding that, and then you can use that to help you know when is the time to water. But apart from that, I think the challenge is also quite enjoyable. Not just the fact it's a stunning plant, it enhances your living space, but the fact that they can be a bit fussy and a bit difficult to keep makes it even more of a challenge, and something I enjoy the challenge as well. So we'll see how we get on. I'll keep you updated about this one, but really pleased to have this. I'm looking forward to keeping it, and I'll keep you posted. Fingers crossed it'll stay happy and healthy with me. All right, that's it for this particular houseplant spotlight today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up if you have. If you've got anything to add about this plant, let me know in the comments. Always interested and happy to learn more about these plant species. And until next time, I'll catch you again soon. Bye for now.